So why don't you go ahead and tell me a little bit about you and how I can help you?
Yeah, sure. So basically, I work huge hours, probably 70, 80 hours a week. And just lately, the last probably year, I've just been really exhausted all the time. I do live a bit of a crazy lifestyle in the sense of work and juggling everything, but can't seem to get those energy levels back.
Mhm.
Just constantly tired, really, to be honest. Always getting through the day, but have lost that wake up, get up and go type um, energy. And I've been following a product called Isogenics. I don't know if you've ever heard of it over there, but it's a powder formula. And that helped me get back into regular eating with breakfast, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, and dinner. So that helped me get back into a program of eating more regularly. But there's not enough nutrients in it. I'm not getting the energy from it. I'm better than
Mhm.
what I was, but still exhausted.
So tell me how much rest you're getting. When do you go to bed? When do you get up? How many hours of
They average on 6 hours sleep a night.
okay? And is it restful sleep? I mean, are you
Yeah.
it is? Okay. Well, generally, six can be enough. Eight, 7 to 8 is better. You
Hmm.
you need that deep rest in order to clear, uh, in order for the lymphatic system to clear out acidic waste, neurological waste from the interstitial fluids of the brain. When you're sleeping deeply, your brain shrinks and push it like a sponge, pushes out its waste products out into a system called the glymphatic system. And from
Hmm.
there, it's coming from the interstitial fluids to the lymphatic system, and from there to the lymphatic system to remove out. So, one thing that can help tremendously is getting adequate rest.
Hmm.
The old adage, going to bed early or early to rise, makes in this case a man or a woman healthy, wealthy, and wise. So
Hmm.
sometimes that's really hard, especially if you have a lot on your plate and you're working from your computer. I don't know if that's the case or if you're actually most of us now are working from the computer, and the computer is very innovating. It pulls life force energy from you, uh,
Mm.
and so you really have to either minimize the amount of time that you're on the computer, because when you're on the computer, generally you're using Wi-Fi, and Wi-Fi is running anywhere from 2.4 gigahertz, which is the same frequency that you microwave your food at. So when you're exposed to that particular frequency, you're microwaving your brain, your body organs, and your body fluids. And so this is why people get tired because they're spending a lot of time on the computer. The other thing is the ultra blue light frequency, which is at 440 to 450 nanometers, and that light frequency is highly destructive to the rods and cones of the eyes. So it does affect your vision, and so this
Mm.
can cause blurry vision, and it can have an effect of basically over time blinding you. So you need to consider shielding your eyes with a ultra blue block. They do have eyewear now to block out that particular frequency that's coming from, and some of the computers have actually put it on to reduce the ultra blue frequency
Okay.
that people are exposed to. These are
Hmm.
these are invisible things, but they're some of the major contributing factors to our enervation, to our fatigue and tiredness, which is causing cellular membrane deterioration that gives rise to COVID. All of the symptoms associated with COVID are high altitude sickness or radiation poisoning conditions. Fatigue is one of those symptomologies. Others is a dry cough. The other is a fever. The fever is nothing more than the body's forced expulsion of acidic waste as the body tries to protect itself. So metabolic or dietary acids build up. And then, of course, the exposure to radiation poisoning, which is very real. So I've been recommending going hardwire with cable rather than with wireless, just to get away from this frequency. The frequencies here again are pulsating. So, over time, they do their damage because the frequency is just hitting you like a heartbeat, like a heartbeat.
So when I walk the dog or go to the gym, I wear headphones, wireless.
Yeah, so you don't want to wear anything wireless. You don't want to, because you're becoming an antenna for radiation poisoning.
Okay.
So you have to go back to the old-fashioned way, is plugging it into the cell phone or whatever you're plugging into. But here again, in a gym, you are being exposed to the Wi-Fi and the radiation there. So it's kind of like an oxymoron. You're exercising while being poisoned.
Yeah.
So it's
something though.
I like your father's way of doing things, and that's climbing mountains, and getting above the pollution, both the air pollution and a lot of the radiation pollution that are the two major contributing factors to the symptomologies of the corona effect. The corona effect is the cellular membrane breakdown and the transformation of a healthy cell into an unhealthy cell that is shown by that breakdown, which then shows appendages that are pushing from the inside out, and so the cell cannot be effective. The other thing that happens is because of radiation around us now, and the pulsating frequencies are increasing from 2.54 gigahertz up to 8 to 10. Of course, 5G is associated with 30 gigahertz. 6G, 7G can take you up, but this is to establish the Internet of Things. So what that means is your toaster, your oven, your phones, everything at your house is fully wireless. And this really is going to destroy many lives. This so-called convenience is not convenience at all. It's actually going to deteriorate our quality and our quantity of life. And so, the other exposure is to the food in New Zealand. And I'm not familiar with the chemical. Well, I haven't studied the chemical, but it's like glyphosate. Glyphosate is a chemical they used for, it's an herbicide, like a pesticide, an herbicide, and it gets within the food. And so it's very important that you either raise your own food, eat what you grow and grow what you eat, or you have to find a farmer or find a store that has organic food that's free from these pesticides that they or herbicides that they use now in New Zealand. In fact, there was a testimony that was given by an attorney to the International Tribunal of Natural Justice concerning this specific poison that's being sprayed from the air onto areas of.
Yeah, they do. They spray it. They put planes over top of the farms, and
chemtrails, and the thought from the government side was to reduce the rodent population. And of course, what it's doing is it's not only killing the rodents, but it's killing everything else. So that you may want to want to maybe check out, if you want, I can send you a link to that testimony because it relates specifically about the toxic poison that's being dusted in and around, even in populated areas of New Zealand. So you may be affected by that. Do they have mask restrictions and social distancing in New Zealand?
No, there's no COVID in New Zealand other than in the isolated hotels where people have immigrated back to New Zealand and they're in isolation for a 14-day period. So there's no COVID in our social communities. It's only captured in the hotels where they're in isolation, where they've come in from India or the States or wherever. So it's not in our community. So therefore we don't have masks or social distancing or so we've had that initially, and then we went on full lockdown. Full lockdown was quite different from the States. Full lockdown meant no takeaways, no deliveries. You were basically in your bubble and that was it. So it was really, it was total home based for 4 weeks, no crossing over. And it just nipped it in the bud. So the only time it's come into New Zealand is when it's been flown in as such, or the big cargo ships that have come in and the guys and girls that were working unloading the cargo.
Yeah.
Even though, yeah, because it transfers from the metal, so they think it came from the containers into shore, and then, but it's all been isolated. So we've got the luxury of we live a normal life currently.
Well, good. That's good to hear. So at least they're not mandating any vaccines in relationship to a phantom virus that only exists on a piece of paper.
Yeah.
So other than that, that's good. But fatigue and tiredness and any type of flu symptoms or cold symptoms are the natural expulsion of acidic waste coming out through the orifices of the body.
Okay.
So it's not an infection. It's literally the body trying to manage and maintain the alkaline design of the internal fluids of the body. So this is
I get puffiness in my hands and body. I get quite
that's
puffy.
circulation. So fatigue and puffiness in the skin is the body pushing out acidic waste from the interstitial fluids out into the connective tissue because it can't get it out in the sense of through normal elimination, which would be urination or defecation or perspiration or respiration or even menstruation for that matter, is a purification process in order to prepare the body, and to maintain its alkaline design. So fatigue is stage one, metabolic, dietary, respiratory, and environmental acidity. Where stage 2 and 3 are irritation and sensitivities and irritation. Stage 4 is inflammation. Stage 5 is induration. Stage 6 is ulceration. And stage 7 is degeneration. So it's progressive, but it's all the same cause. So there's only one cause and there's only one cure or one treatment. And the cause is, you can't blame it on anything or anyone. It's a personal thing. The way we feel is a consequences of how well we're taking care of the internal environment of our body. And so the questions then come up: are you sweating daily? Are you through exercise? Are you drinking, hydrating at least 1 liter per 20 or 25 kilos of weight? Are you eating organic, chemical-free foods? Are you in an area exposed to acid rain? So that could be air pollution, being exposed to titanium or zinc oxide. It could be carbon monoxide if you're living in a larger city. It could be factory particulates. but it's either micro or nanoparticulates that are not getting moved out of the body. And so the aches and pains we feel are a result of our lifestyle and where we live, what we eat, what we drink, what we breathe, what we think and what we feel and what we believe. And so we have to evaluate these contributing factors. And so, if you're tired all the time, the question is, well, are you getting adequate rest? Are you getting enough, REM sleep to where the brain can purify itself? Are you eliminating the metabolic waste of lactic acid that builds up on a daily basis, which is measurable? And how do I do that? Through hydration, through better circulation. That's why one of the nutraceuticals I developed, which is called L-arginine Max, contains specific ingredients that not only neutralize acidity, but also increase alkalinity with antioxidants, and also increases the flow, improving circulation, particularly to your extremities. So the body's going to push out any excess acidity, if it can't get rid of it, outside the body. So that means breast inflammation, or breast cancer, which is nothing more than the body purifying itself by pushing toxins out to the extremities, since the breasts are outside the body. So breast cancer is not something you catch.
It's huge.
What's that?
Huge. And I've got 2 friends going through breast cancer.
Yeah, but if you ask them about their lifestyle, you'll understand why. Okay, but the breast is a depository. So if a woman has breast cancer, or if a man has breast cancer, which is 30% of all breast cancers worldwide, they go to a surgeon, they'll take off the breast, but that didn't solve the problem. It just solved an area of where the body was pushing waste that no longer is there. So now it's going to go into the fatty tissues, i.e. the connective tissues, i.e. the brain. Now you're dealing with a brain cancer, or a pancreatic cancer, or a liver cancer. And this all starts with fatigue. That's the beginning warning sign of your moving, the body is not removing through circulation and elimination the body's waste. And if you can't remove that, then the body starts breaking down, it starts wearing out. Okay. And a lot of people say, well, I have a yeast infection. You don't get old, you mold. Yeast and bacteria are symptoms of a polluted environment. So you have to look at the quality of water that you're drinking. So the question is not only how much are you drinking, what are you drinking? If it's, let's say, well, I get my hydration by drinking alcohol or wine or what have you, that has to stop. You're trading, momentary gratification while losing your life force energy. If it's sugary foods, then you say, well, what are you trading off? Are you a slave to your taste buds, or are you in command of this place that you live? Because if you don't take care of it, where are you going to live? You only have your body. It's where your soul lives, and without that, it's not like you can go to another body. There are some people out there, bad actors, that think that can be altered, but it can't. You can't.
But regarding addiction, like coffee is such a big. I'm so addicted to coffee, and it's like I try and get off coffee, but I wake up and the first thing I crave.
Well, you have to do substitution. You just don't.
I don't have it after the rest of the day, but I wake up craving that.
Yeah, and that's a trap people get into, because coffee doesn't energize your body; it stimulates your body.
No.
Yeah.
But it must have an addiction, something in it. There's an addiction.
It is an addiction. That's why, they should change the name of the major coffee place and take out the B and put in the F, but I'm not going to say it here. but you have to move away from coffee because that's not contributing electrons to your body cells. And electrons is the spark of energy in which your cells function. So if something is stealing electrons from your body, here again, that's an acid contributor. It's a proton.
So what would be a replacement for that, Robert? What would be a replacement?
Well, a replacement for coffee would be something like, I have to think here. I mean, up the scale, you would go to maybe an herbal tea. You could go to red clover. You could go to a lemon ginger. Because a lot of times it's maybe something just to get things going,
Yes,
something warm, but without the chemicals that are found in that particular beverage that's going to pull your life force energy down. Because people that drink coffee have to drink it generally throughout the day in order to keep going, because they drink it and then they feel enervated after the stimulation of the caffeine. And if it's chocolate, it's theobromine and methylbromine, but these are chemicals that poison the body that the body has to react to. That's interpreted by you as energy. But what it is the body reacting using reserves, alkaline reserves from your bones or your muscles to neutralize that. So the body has to respond and activate. And that activation is misinterpreted as life force energy, and it's not. It's just the body.
So therefore, with regards to your nutrients, like I looked online and you sort of don't know where to, because parts of what you're saying I can control, but other parts I can't control my environment or where I work or how I get there. I drive to work. All those things you can, there's some things you can control, but there's others that you can't.
Yeah, for example, if you're talking about radiation poisoning and fatigue associated with radiation poisoning, then and you're exposed to Wi-Fi, then you have to protect yourself by reinforcing your own body frequency. So you need to get something that you can resonate with, that links. Yeah, so that's where Q-Link comes in. That's where ARC technology. Are you familiar with Q-Link? No, Q-Link is a pendant that you wear at the heart chakra. It looks like this is one here, but if you look at it, on the back of it, there's 150 feet of copper wire that expands the frequency around you.
Yeah, just 1 minute, Robert. Hi, good morning. There's Millie. Oh, sorry, Robert.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just and then in the center, to amplify that frequency.
Yes.
And what it does is that those crystals will pick up your own body frequency and resonate. And so you end up linking your own body frequency with, that's why it's called Q-Link. It's a quantum link that protects you. Okay. There's one that's proactive. And the reason I put it the heart chakra is because the heart generates its own life force energy. It emits photons. Mm-hmm. Okay. And that amplifies that the amount of photons that are released from the heart increases when you have something that you can resonate with. So if you meet someone that you care about and love, and you have a heart-to-heart connection, the amount of photons that increase are significant and go from 5,000 photons up to 50,000 just from that link from a hug, from a kiss. That love connection is real. Mm-hmm. Because it increases it increases the flow of fluid, but it increases the production of photon energy. And that's what the Q-Link does. That's what the ARC technology does. The ARC technology is a tetrahedron crystal that acts as a flux capacitor, and it literally emits its own photons of light. It's not pulling like a solar panel from some other source. It is a source.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to
Where do we
protect.
get those from? I've never heard of them. Where are they?
Well, you can find them online. I mean, you can get Q-Link's been around. I did the first research on Q-Link in London in 1999 with Dr. Beverly Rubik, professor at University of California at Berkeley, and we did the first double-blinded study on this technology and what is called sympathetic resonant technology, or ARC. ARC is advanced resonant kinetics. All we're talking about is a connection, and that connection, as by illustration, is actually heard and when you take a tuning fork at a certain key, and if there's like a piano or a guitar string, if you hit that tuning fork, that string that's tightened at that particular note, that tonality, will resonate with the tuning fork, and it'll reinforce it. That's how it's based. It's just it's a feedback mechanism where it picks up your energy, the crystals pick that up, and then the biofeedback back. So you have this resonant this connection, and that's one way to protect your body from outside chaotic frequencies. And you can read about this at drrobertyoung.com/blog. So you can look at my blog and read about the research on sympathetic resonant technology and the research that we've done over the last 20 plus years. So that's those. So there are things that you may not be aware of. That would be one of the things you can do.
Yeah, definitely.
The other thing is just increase your circulation, because circulation equates to percolation. And when fluids are not flowing, fluid becomes stagnant, then things start breaking down and building up, kind of like in a stagnant pool of water. You have to keep things flowing. And so circulation is directly tied to elimination. So daily exercise, infrared sauna is another frequency of light, approximately at 970 nanometers wavelength, that permeates to the bone and activates the lymphatic flow. So using lymphatic massage, or using, which is hands-on, or using infrared sauna helps to remove acidic waste out through the pores of the skin.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
These are things that you can do. Yanga yoga, which is basically just a fun way to exercise. There's a gal that's doing 5-10 minute exercises on YouTube each morning. There's lots of it's called dance exercise, and Yanga yoga is based on the same ideology of taking popular music and working out with that, or your favorite music and working out with that to the beat, so to speak. So you can make it fun too. Yeah, but these are just a few things you can do. Yeah, what's that?
Yeah. I don't think I would do. I would just rather go and walk the dog than.
Well, walking is good. It's the natural forward movement of the body. The forward movement of the body is natural, and walking the dog can be good exercise too.
Yeah, I have to. But what about the just cautious of the time, because obviously we need to get back into the traffic to get to work. But with the fact of the nutrients, where would you start from the beginning? Like, where's the beginning to start? Because I kind of need a beginning which is simplified. Like, if it's all too much.
Yeah. Well, chapter 5 talks about the lifestyle and talks about that. The chapter's called Cows. I don't know if you have the pH Miracle revised and updated book, but I would actually get that. read chapter 5 because the chapter cows is an acronym that stands for chlorophyll, oil, water, and salt. So you
Okay.
want to start eating more green foods that are high chlorophyll content. You want to take supplements that like super greens or like iJuice chlorophyll that will bring more chlorophyll or more to help build hemoglobin. You want to raise your red blood count. This is what I do for athletes: is I
Mhm.
raise their red blood count. I raise their hemoglobin. You do that with green foods and green drinks. So broccoli, spinach, avocado, and you move away from foods that are brown or black or off color, but more of the alkalizing colors of fruit and vegetables, the green, the blue, the purple. These are more high energy type foods. Yes, there are some things like peppers that come in different colors. There's cucumbers, of course, which are green. There's avocados, which is one of the best foods you can eat because of
Yeah.
its high levels of lycopene and lutein that
Yeah.
are antioxidants, plus the good monounsaturated oils. It's also 15% protein. It's one of the best sources of protein is avocado. And I know they have avocados in New Zealand. Yeah,
Yeah, they do. They're really expensive, but I eat them, but
yeah, and
it's a matter of sourcing. Yeah, and it's also time. Like we've got one, I need to kind of add it into my diet I work manic hours and I have a family. Like I don't have, yeah, I need sort of supplements and to go into what I'm drinking, because I'll drink my smoothie and sit in the traffic going to work, right? So, and I'll take an avocado, but I kind of need more. I feel like I need a hit of nutrients of good, healthy food,
Yeah.
but
Well, you
more
need
of it.
more,
It's like it's not building into my.
yeah, you need electron-rich foods, of which I'll send you by email. I'll send you a list of foods you can eat freely and foods that you should eliminate. But it's based simply on
Yeah.
my research of kind of categorizing these
Yes.
foods of good, better, best. So what are the good, better, best foods?
It would be amazing.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Thank you.
send
That would
that
be
to you.
amazing.
And of course, there are foods that are the worst, that are highly acidic, and those are the foods you should consider eliminating totally out of your daily food regimen, because what it does is these foods take energy from your body, and
Right.
you want to donate energy to your body.
Yes, I want the opposite.
Yeah,
I want the energy going in. And any supplements or powders or greens or whatever you recommend, would you send that through and then I can just order it and then
yeah,
box on from
yeah. I'll
there?
send you a list. It's going to be a list of about 60 things that I'm going to
Yeah.
suggest. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to go,
And
oh,
then
wow, that's a little overwhelming.
narrow that down.
The reason I'm doing that is not that you have to do everything. I just want you to be aware of everything. You see? And then, there are things like in chapter 5 with chlorophyll, then you've got your chlorophyll, you've got your oils. Here we're talking about things like flaxseed, black seed, hemp seed. And then from there, we're talking about the W, which is water. You need to move to electron-rich, functionally structured water. So the question then comes up, do you have a purification system to take out, chemicals that are added back into the water from the city, like chlorines and chloramines, fluoride. I don't know if you're using fluoride, but, they're even talking in California and other places in the United States to put lithium in the water. So, I mean, then we
Yeah.
can all walk around at least feeling good, but I'm not sure that we'll be totally mentally connected to the functions of our brain. And anyway, feelings good is great if you're doing it naturally and in a healthy way. So, ordering, or installing a purification system, a whole house purification system to take out impurities, adding local stations, putting in a water alkalizer, ionizer to help, contribute for drinking and also for preparing food that you're, let's say, warming up or making soups. What kind of water are you using? Are you using tap water or using
Filtered
purified
water.
alkaline water? So water is
I just
probably
use
the
filtered.
single most important thing that you can do to improve your health.
Okay. All right.
Period. I mean, if somebody says, look, I mean, your body's, when you're born, you're up around 90% water. When you're dead, you're below 60. But, okay, average, between 65 and 70% water. So we're a body of water with a little dirt, and that dirt is clay. We are a clay tabernacle, but we are a body of water, and the quality of that water really determines the quality of our health. And so all of our body fluids, rather than, argue the point, the stomach is acidic, which is actually a false premise. It's not acidic, it's actually alkaline. It's just, after the body has alkalized the food rather than digest the food, there's an acidic residue called hydrochloric acid, which is a waste product of sodium bicarbonate production. So one of the simplest things that you can do is change the water that you're drinking and then drink more of it, because it's really difficult to drink water that's not good for you. And that's pretty much all the waters that are in the supermarket. You have to structure it yourself. You have to alkalize it yourself. You have to control it. And you will immediately feel the difference just from drinking water. Now, when you asked me the question about coffee, I did have a flashback at breakfast. And what I had this morning was I took some organic almond milk, and then I added to that our I-juice turmeric ginger powder.
Oh, nice.
And so that's what I had for breakfast. And I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily the ever ready battery bunny, bouncing around. But I kind of, like you, spend less time sleeping than I do working. And so it's very, very common for me to, work from early morning till late at night. And I do get tired. But when I'm tired, I go right to sleep. And then when I wake up, I'm ready to go again. So that's the way you should feel, but there's a lot to say about staying active, but it's a lot to say to getting good rest. But we have all these external contributing factors that we need to be aware of to try to protect ourselves. So we can protect ourselves by the quality and quantity of water that we drink. We can protect ourselves from radiation poisoning by syncing with a sympathetic resonant crystal that will reinforce our own body frequency from the chaos that's going on in the world today. I mean, I don't know how anybody stays alive in Wuhan. Whatever they want to blame it on bats. Why don't they look at the air they're breathing, and then in a soup of electromagnetic frequencies with that air pollution, I'm surprised there's anybody living in Wuhan, but yeah, it's a horrendous problem in major cities, Los Angeles, New York. The best thing that happened to the quarantine in major cities is the factories shut down, and for once, you could actually see the stars at night. Yeah. Now, I know that's not the case. Yeah, I know that's not the case in New Zealand. But
even when we went into lockdown here, total lockdown, without vehicles on the road, without the factories operating, the air was cleaner. It was definitely cleaner. There was definitely a change from us not polluting our country. You could see it. It was a visual change. It was amazing, and that was only 4 weeks. After the 4th week, you could see it.
You can also get portable, like when you sleep, you can get a portable multi-phase filtration system that will take out the micro and nano particulates. And so you're not breathing house pollution. It's coming maybe, from outgassing, it could be coming from the outside world in to your home. But, more and more people are putting in home filtration systems to filtrate out nanoparticulates. And that's a really simple thing to do. I'm not talking about ozone, because that's used by the commercial industry to purify a room, to take out nanoparticulates. I'm mainly thinking about, a home hemp filter system, either 7 or they've got 7, 9, and 11 stage filtration systems, and they're available online, that can filtrate out nanoparticulate. But you want to find a filtration system that will take out those nanoparticles that are really affecting our lives, and that can only be seen because they're billionths of a meter. So so the particulates are so tiny, you have to use an electron microscope to actually see them. So that's another thing that you can do. The W, so I talked about the W. The S is salt. The reason why people are enervated and they don't have a lot of energy, because they've depleted their bodies of sodium and potassium ions. Magnesium and calcium, those are the 4 electrolytes that are so, so important that we include back into our diet. And our soil has become depleted of many of these elements. So supplementing something like 4 salts that contain sodium, potassium, bicarbonate, magnesium, and calcium in smaller amounts can be very helpful in managing and maintaining the alkaline design of the fluids of the body. Now, how would you know that? Well, one of my suggestions is going to be that you test your urine, throughout the day, and keep a diary, and make sure that you keep your urine pH above 7.4.
7.4. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Ideally, in a healing environment, we're looking at a pH of 8.4 to 9. So if you break a bone, if you have an injury, a trauma, any part of your body, the body will send alkalinity and blood to that particular environment for biological transformation, and for the creation of new body cells takes place in an alkaline environment. That's how you regenerate your body, because there's only the other way that the body heals is through scarration. So those scars of life, both inside and outside our body, can actually be lightened and eventually disappear if we provide a proper alkaline environment.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Dr. Young. I'm going to have to bring this meeting to an end because I've got to get into the traffic, and my boss has been in isolation for 2 weeks, and we've got to meet him at 9.
Well, okay. Well,
9 o'clock.
You gotta isolation doesn't work. You gotta circulate to percolate. So, and that's not just what you eat and drink, but that's also with who you associate. So those personal contacts, both family, friends, and business are very, very critical for our not only our physical health, but also our mental health. It's so nice to. It's so nice.
I deal with people.
It's so nice to meet you and to actually talk again. And so have a wonderful day. I will send you an email with some suggestions and recommendations, and there'll also be links in those recommendations and suggestions, so it'll make it easy for you. Okay?
You're an absolute star. Thank you. Take care.
All the best.
Bye.
All right. Ciao. Bye-bye.